Um, but at the time, I didn't care because I was going to end it anyway, you know. But I come back, and that's when I kind of let the cat out of the bag. I'm like, Dad, like, clearly I have a drug problem. Um, I want to get off drugs. I want to continue to live. You know, what can we do? He was like, well, turn yourself in. So I go to the bondsman. I turn myself in. I end up having to do like 5 to 10 days in jail because I had to like see the judge. And I'm like, what do we do now, Dad? Like, I have negative $3 in my bank account. Like, I can't go to Bradford. It's $15 a day or $15,000 a day at Bradford. I don't have insurance because I lost my job. What do I do? And my dad has been going to Cross Point for forever, working the parking lot serving. My dad is one of the best guys I know, and my best friend. He was like, I know where you can go because he serves here every like first and last Sunday and stuff, going through Cross Point. And he was like, I was like, I don't have any money. I don't know what to do. And he was like, I'll take you to the downtown rescue mission. He's like, I've already been talking to him because he knows Dennis Kennelly. He, I guess, was in talks with Adam Casey.
Yeah.
So they dropped me off here, and I have literally like the whatever bag you get your belongings back from jail. You know, it's like a paper bag, like a grocery bag. He brings me here, and I meet Adam Casey, and you know, he was like, "Are you planning on staying?" I'm like, "No, probably not. Like, rehab's not for me. I'm not homeless. I don't need to be at a homeless shelter."
Yeah.
And I end up, you know, playing video games with Adam and Corey Bullard like for forever. They just talk to me like now, knowing it is crazy because like they get off work at 3, but like it was like until like 6 or 7, just talking, playing video games. And you know, in the meantime, like my friends, they know that I like need help because I was in jail for 10 days, and you know, they're just like texting me like, you got this, you can do this, we're here for you, like whatever you need. And then I end up, you know, I had only the clothes like on my back, and then like a change of clothes to sleep in because I wasn't planning on staying. It was just enough to, you know, get my friends to trust me again, or to, you know, get my parents off my back or whatever it may be. But yeah, end up joining the life recovery program here. And it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, because I let some of my ministry staff play video games, that changed the rest of your life, huh?
Yeah. Shout out to Super Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you guys, and how long were you doing that with them? A couple weeks, or I mean,
Playing video games with
yeah,
them?
to try to get you into the program. That's what they were
I
trying
came
to do.
straight in, which
Yeah.
is insane.
Yeah.
And because me being the chaplain here now, the process to get into our program is you have to have 2 interviews with the chaplain. Like, you got to stay in the overnight side. But me being the humble person I am, I was talking to Adam about it not too long ago. I was like, I'm pretty awesome, man. You brought me straight into the program. He was like, no, because you're soft and you wouldn't have stayed back there. Me and your dad had talked, like,
Yeah.
you would have cried and left and
Yeah.
figured out another. And I was like, oh yeah, you're probably right. It's crazy because now I'm like working over it with the best boss in the world, Morgan Fox, dude. Like, just, it was the perfect storm. I come into the program not planning on staying. And I meet Adam Casey, who ends up being my discipleship leader, mixed with Corey Bullard, someone who went through the program himself, who I can relate to,
Yep.
mixed with Mickey Counter, who has been in Brazil for 20 years and just a wise old man.
As a missionary.
Yeah. And I can play chess with and drink coffee with, you know, who's like, you know, you go to Corey and Adam and it's like dad, like they're hard on you. You go to Mickey, it's like mom, you know, he's like, okay, but it's still truth, but it's just a nicer version of it, you know, mixed with, you know, security. You know, you had Lowen and you had Drew at the time, who I rolled my fist up at a couple times. He flipped my mattress, you know, that kind of, well, because I bought every bit of it, you know, like you have rules that you need to go by, and he's military, you know, and I put a target on my back immediately, you know, no dipping, no smoking, no cigarettes. And, you know, I'd walk around the hallways with cigarettes in both ears, just a horseshoe of Grizzly Wintergreen long cut. You know, I think not wanting to be here, not, you know, being a spoiled brat, not having discipline, not liking, you know, authority. And then, you know, cut to, you know, 6 months later, him and Lowen end up hiring me. You know, it was just the perfect storm, man.
But you went to jail. Was that, for you, was that like the bottom? You're like, I got to do something to change my life.
Yeah, that's what made me realize.
Your dad saw it, and he already knew because he was already looking at the mission for you,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But there had to be something in your life that was the last thing, and you're like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I need to go and do something that's going to change my life.
Jail.
What was it? Jail, was it?
Jail. Straight
Yeah.
up. Jail. Jail sucks.
Yeah.
Jail sucks. Jail's bad. Um, it's like 2 bologna sandwiches a day. Not to mention, I'm a 150-pound white kid with glasses.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fighting for everything. They want my mats. They want my food. Not to mention, they know I'm only in there for like a bond jumping, and so I'm gonna be gone in a minute anyway.
Yeah.
Let's take everything we can get from this kid. But there was this older black gentleman in there. I forgot what his first name was, but we just called him OG. Every old guy in there is OG. Yeah, original gangster, whatever. And he was reading the Bible, and he was in the cell next to me. He wasn't in my cell. Me and my cellie weren't getting along because he wanted my mat, and I ended up having to fight him for it. Got the crap beat out of me, but kept my mat. So I guess I won in a little way. But while I was in there, it was like day 4 or 5, and I found drugs in there, like meth to be exact. And I called my mom, cried and convinced and begged her to put money on my book, so I was able to buy other people's stuff for drugs or for whatever. And OG looked at me and he was like, "You're jailing now." He's like, "You're really jailing now." And like for a second, I was like, "Yeah, like cool, I'm jailing now, whatever." And then I go back to my bunk or whatever, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to be jailing. Like this is so bad."
Yeah.
While all my friends, while I still have like this girlfriend of 4.5 years who, like I thought I was going to go into jail and come right back out. I'm in there for 10 days. My friends are wondering where am I, or my girlfriend who has no idea about any of this is wondering.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I don't want to be jailing. So I called my dad. I'm like, as soon as I'm done with court, I got to get out of here. This is bad. But in jail for sure was my moment of, like, you always hear like God will, God's not going to put you through anything you can't handle.
Yeah.
Bull crap, man. He put me through everything I could not handle, but it was so I turned to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you get in the program, you finally play enough video games, they get you to entice you to get in the program, right?
Right.
So, you don't have to go through all the steps, but what were some of the highlights of the program for you that really were some changing, in life we have those U-turns that we have in our life that, man, that really changed my life, right?
Yeah. So I've always been the kind of like person, like if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing. And I come in, I meet Matt Worsham, who now runs the front office, and I lead a D group with. We just got back from D group, discipleship group. I meet him, and like it was like day 2, and I'm like running around, like dipping, like just being ridiculous, breaking all the rules. And he just pulls me aside. He's like, "How old are you, dude?" And I'm like 28. And he was like, "Stop acting like you're 16. Like, what are you doing? Like, we're all here trying to get better. You're running around here. Like, you know what I mean?"
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. That was like a wake up call. Like, I'm looking around and like people are like, praying, they're in the Bible. I'm just like wanting to go to the basketball court and shoot some hoops or, play some video games. But that I like, not to mention we were bunk mates. Like he slept next to me for a whole year. Like, like the growth, like we got it out the mud together, man. Like we went through a lot, but if it wasn't for his experience and his wisdom, like big brother type thing, that was a huge turning point. Another big turning point I would have to say would be Adam Casey. His classes. He teaches,
and he's the director of the men's ministry.
Yep. Yeah, he's the men's program director.
Yep.
So he's over everybody who's in the program. And he teaches classes. He teaches this one class. He goes through the book of John.
Yeah.
And I just remember like being filled with the Holy Spirit, like tears in my eyes every time. It was like, holy crap. Like what is happening here? It was like I was getting that same feeling I did on the beach when I was like, "God, please help me," kind of thing, which I had totally forgot about when I went to jail. But I remember his first John classes. He would like get just the way he teaches. Like it's like he gives you these like illustrations or whatever about like blind faith, and he had me like hold an invisible man, and he was like. It's crazy. I was holding an invisible man, and he like goes on for like 30 minutes about this invisible man, and then he was like, "Do you really believe that you're holding an invisible man?" And I'm like, "No." And then he was like, "Then why are you holding the jacket in his other hand?" Like I was like holding these things, and it just like clicked with me, like like the whole. I had faith that I would do heroin one more time and then I'd be done. I'd have faith in all these things he was talking about, you know, your faith in Jesus, your faith in God.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of hard work because I look around me and everyone was reading the Bible and it was like, how am I going to believe in, you know, some guy who's not here, like, you know, just this God thing. You know, I want to. My dad always said, you know, pursue God, follow God, you know. I went to this Christian school, like there's a book, this Bible about him, like I want to read the Bible, but I wasn't. I was just wanting to continue to do, you know, to do me, to do Adam. One of the other big turning points was with Lowen. Lowen pulled me aside because he was working on security and I was breaking all the rules, dipping inside, and like he just sat me down. He's like, dude, what are you doing? You're 28 years old. You're like ruining your life. We're asking you to do these simple things. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what I'm doing. You know, like I don't like want to be here. All my friends are out there having fun, playing disc golf, and you know, going downtown, and I'm in here. Like this sucks. I don't want to be here. Kick me out, please. And he was like, you gotta want to do better. He's like, you gotta like, there's like this heart change, and he brought me through scripture and showed me like everything about, you know, being changed by the heart and stuff. And then I talked with Matt about not leaving. Matt talked me out of leaving. On that same day, I had the talk with Lowen and with Matt. I was like like so close to leaving, Keith. I was about to leave because I got into it with somebody working in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I go to, you can't have cell phones the first 6 months of the program. So I go to our resource center on my way to the resource center, somebody who was working the front desk, I think it was Chris Brock, hands me a note, says, hey, this person wants you to call him. And it was Robert Perez, who I live with now, my best friend in the whole wide world. Like literally as soon as I graduated the program, had me come in, live with him. Like he's anything I could say about that dude is an understatement. Like he's so wonderful.
At what point in the program did you feel like you really gave a commitment to Jesus and said, listen, I want you to take over my life. I'm done running my own life.
This day.
Yeah.
This day. I get this note from Robert.
Yeah.
Okay. I call him. He doesn't answer. I go on the computer to try to like get more numbers or something because my phone was dead and I forgot why. But I get these emails. I'm just flooded with emails of all my friends, like Peter Masaki, somebody who I wasn't even close with, you know, but we're in the same friend group. Scott, my friend Scott, who's Jewish, you know, doesn't even believe in Jesus, knows that I'm in this faith-based Jesus program, came to graduation. Just the best people in the whole world are reaching out to me. And that gave me motivation to like stay. I'm like, okay, I'll do it for them at least, you know? Yeah. And then I, you know, go into my dorm that night and I'm on my hands and knees crying. I don't even know how I got to be there. You know, Matt Worsham or somebody was like, you know, the power of prayer, baby. He's like, roll tide, you know, Matt. Yeah. So I start praying and I'm just crying just like I was on the beach. I was like, God, I want to get to know you. I want to read the Bible. I want to do all these things. And I wouldn't say it was the next day, but I don't remember when. But next thing I know, I am, you know, doing D groups, discipleship groups. I'm like, you know, wanting to get in the Bible. Like, I'm not just like hearing things. I'm like understanding things. I wasn't just knowing about Jesus. I was knowing Jesus. So it was that day, like all those things happened. I had a talk with Lowen. My friends reached out and then just like praying and for that heart change that Lowen was talking to me about. Yep. And then ever since there, like, you know, security got off my back. I started following all the rules. I just wanted to be the person who I always, you know, wanted. Like I always wanted people to think I was something that I wasn't. And, you know, now I can say that I am. And this was towards the end of first step. So cut to second or third step. Like I just started to realize and understand, like if you pursue God half as hard as you pursue after, not even half, a quarter of the way as you pursue like things that you want, he'll give you more than you ever need.
Yeah. So people out there understand when you're talking about the program, there's different levels. So it's step one, step two, step three, almost like semesters, right? You know?
Yeah, like quarterly.
So you have 4 semesters and it takes a year to get through it.
Yeah. Yeah. 4 steps. They're each 3 months long, which makes the year for the year-long program. Fast forward to 4th step. I'm wanting to get an engineering job back. I'm wanting to make money. I'm good. I'm sober. Yeah. I'm working security here. Lowen hired me when Drew left, and Lowen got the position. Next thing I know, I think Adam Casey, he was like, "You'd be a really good counselor, man." I was like, "Yeah, I would love to. Like, I've felt a calling for it, like I would love to too, but I already have this degree in this, or I have certificates in this." And I think the idea came up with me working here.
Yeah.
Shortly after that, I don't know who came up with the idea, but Adam was like, "You should work here." And then I was like, "What would I do?" Because I don't want to do security. I don't have the heart for it. There's some hard days on security where you gotta, you know, do some punishment, or kick people out or whatever it may be, and I just couldn't do it. I was on security once, and they were like, "Hey, did you bar this guy for 3 days?" I was like, "No, I gave him a hug, and he's gonna go to bed." Like I just couldn't do it. And then I think Morgan, like I don't know if he came up with the idea or what happened, but Morgan, who is our now I think our director of men's overnight,
Right.
who was the chaplain at the time, definitely needed help because it's a big job. Either asked or accepted for me because we got cool when I was on security, and we work a lot together. And then the idea came up, "Hey, would you want to work here in ministry?" And immediately I was like, "Absolutely." But I was told and advised, pray about it, think about, is this really what you want to do? So I did, and I got told by there was definitely various signs on why I should stick around here.
So you graduate the program, and then you come to work for us.
Right? Yeah, hit the ground running. Like the day after graduation, I go from a security vest to a polo to start counseling folks.
And you feel committed to Christ enough that you want to share that with other people, right?
Yeah.
And you want to be that guy that puts your arm around somebody and says, "Hey, listen, get in the program. This is going to change your life," because they point you in the right direction, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing is when I was doing drugs, when I was out doing stupid in the streets and, lying to family, lying to friends, I had no hope. I think I went to a couple of AA meetings throughout my drug run, and it just didn't work for me. They were, more whatever works for you to get off drugs. Don't do drugs, but it was more pursue quitting drugs.
Yeah.
It was, one day at a time. I'm an addict. Here, I quickly learned that, do not put your identity in your circumstances. Put your identity in Christ, and that's what worked for me.
So how long have you been a chaplain now?
2 years, May 28th.
So you graduated, and you've been doing great since the program, right? Mm-hmm. And you're helping other people here at the mission. So let's talk about how you are now, right?
Yeah.
I know you're back in the lane of wanting to find a girlfriend, and and it's different now than it was before, though, because you and I've had conversations. You're like, "Listen, how old are you now? 31? Yeah, I'm 31, and I want to find a good Christian girl that because my life is that way now, and that's not how you were before. You
right.
You weren't really worried about that." But what I love about that is I've seen you through that process, that there's been some that you've dated that it's not been so great. And you're like, hey, they might say they're a Christian, but I don't like the path they're going, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. But to see the difference in you, because I know that one of the things, you want to be a dad.
Yeah.
You want to do some of those things. And God's got that in your plan. So tell me about, now that you're with the mission and, kind of your goal, and you graduated now the Christian counseling, biblical counseling.
Yeah. And thanks to the mission for paying for it. They were like, okay. As soon as I graduated the program, I hit the ground running. I'm having to counsel people who, have problems that I never even know you could have.
Yeah.
It's insane. I go through biblical counseling, which is a year of classes and, getting in the Word and books and all these things. And
not you being counseled, but you are learning how to counsel.
Yeah, both.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, both. Yeah. I mean, it's like first semester's like about you
Yeah.
in self-examination. The second one's about that. But while working here, while counseling, me and Matt Worsham graduated the program together. He was hired on staff. We're riding together to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I forgot what your question was.
Well, what do you see in yourself doing the next, what is the projection for you now? What is the direction your life wants to go?
I now want to do whatever I feel. I feel like I don't deserve to be here. I feel like I don't deserve to be alive. I don't deserve to not be in prison. Through God's grace, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Through God bringing me the mission, who I feel like I'll owe a debt, for forever. Whatever God wants me to do, or wherever God has me, I'll do that. I don't see myself working anywhere else.
Yeah.
I see myself staying here for the long haul. Who knows what could happen? I mean, I've seen it by working here. A lot of things can change in a year.
Sure.
But like I said, if it wasn't for my best friends, we call ourselves, the McNugs group in the Discord, I would not be here today. If it wasn't for the mission, I would not be where I'm at today.
You went from not obeying the rules
yeah.
to the one enforcing the rules,
Yeah,
now, right?
yeah. Yeah, and having to give out punishment for it.
Yeah.
I know. There's only one excuse for that is God.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, the resume shows, like, working for an engineering company, jail, a chaplain. Like, that's bananas. I can't, like, and I confiscate, drugs sometimes, like here, sometimes people bring in, weed or stuff that they're not supposed to. And
things that you couldn't wait to get your hands on before,
oh my gosh.
Right? Yeah.
Well, and at the time it was like, open up my pill bottle and have some pills, or, roll a blunt and smoke some weed. Now I see weed and I'm like, oh my gosh, like those are drugs. That's bad. Like, it's crazy. Like the whole heart change and stuff. But, luckily I work in ministry, so I have that accountability. I have people who are constantly watching over me and, making sure that I'm not going back, to doing stupid.
And you have a great relationship with the Lord too, and that's the big thing, right? I mean,
I know who Jesus is.
That's who you can depend on too. Some of the fun things about you is you are a comedian on the side.
Sometimes.
Yeah, and you've actually performed.
I'm a full-time comedian.
Yeah, you are here at least. But you performed at some of the local stand-up places, and is that something that you think you would like to do more in the future? Or?
Maybe. There's a lot of drugs.
Your jokes. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's so much material here.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I mean, as far as pursuing it, no. I pursued it as a career. I used to get paid decent money to do it. And when I say decent, it would be like, like $100 a night to go to Copper Top or something, like some,
It's a fun hobby though, right?
It's so much fun. And I mean, now when I do it, I bring my ministry team, like Adam, Casey, Morgan, and Morgan was doing it too. Adam was doing it too. Like, it's fun. But as far as pursuing it, like, I don't want, like, what's working now is pursuing the Lord. Yeah. And I'm going to continue to do that, and realizing that Adam's way got him to jail. Yeah. Adam's way got him to, a homeless shelter. God's way got him here. Mm-hmm. And, I thank him every day for that. I think that's one of the main things I struggle with when it comes to prayer too, is like asking for things. Like, it's like, just thank you for what I like, daily bread. Thank you. Yeah.
So if you could look back and the 31-year-old Adam could talk to an Adam who's a lot younger, maybe just starting this path. And I'm saying, talk to the young folks that are out there today. What would you say to that 12, 13, 14-year-old Adam that you now know at 31? Because you've taken this, it's been a hard road, right? I mean, there's been some real big bumps in the road, but you ended up in a good place.
Yeah. I would tell them it's going to be okay. Like, I would tell them God is in complete control, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not. Like, I pray for anyone's blind eyes to be open and deaf ears and hearts to be softened, but he is in complete control. Like, it's like when I was little playing video games with my brother, like, we would be playing video games together, but my controller would be unplugged. I just thought that I was playing. Yeah. That's how I look at, like, God is in complete control. Even when I feel like Adam needs to do these things, God has a plan for you. And not only that, but like, he loves you. Like, you are not alone. When I was in that jail cell and, God gave me more than I could handle. Yeah, but like he can handle it. You know what I mean? Like he is love, he is grace, he is mercy, and none of us deserve it, but we get it. And I don't even think we can wrap our heads around the fact like of how much grace, mercy, and love that he is, and we get for it. And also I would tell him, there's going to be, as far as being a Christian goes, it's like, in Matthew, the guy walks up to Jesus and he's like, hey, can I follow you? And what does Jesus say? Foxes have holes, birds have nests, but like we won't have a place to sleep. Like, get to work. We're gonna get to work. It's hard work, and the devil does not care if you fall off left or right. He just cares that you're off the saddle. That's right. But that's why you need, to be in the Word every day, even when everything was good, even when everything was perfect before the fall. Adam and Eve didn't know what to do until God spoke. Yeah. So there's something about being in His Word. There's something about being surrounded by people who have their swords sharpened too, who are in the Word, and can hold you accountable. But if I was to tell me at 12 years old, that was the age my brother died, everything's going to be okay. Yeah. Everything's going to be okay, and it's not on you. Yeah. And if I could speak to my brother one more time, I think it would be, it wouldn't even like for so long I wanted to know why he did it. I think now it would just be like, how am I doing? Yeah. Yeah. So,
well, listen, I'll tell you this. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I love you. And I think the path that God has us on sometimes might not be the path that we choose for ourselves at 10 or 11 years old, right?
No, I was supposed to be playing for the New York Giants right now, man. You know what I'm saying?
But when you look back, you can say, hey, wow, I see God's hand each step of the way. Even when I was in jail, even when I was taking drugs, God, at some point, it all directed you to the point where you are now, that God got you on the right path.
Yeah.
And, I know you talked to Adam Casey quite a bit, and I know he's got you on the reform side of things.
That's my boy.
So for sure, God was a part of it the whole way through, right?
Yeah. It already had been written out, brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for having me here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to work here. And, ultimately, like, it's God's glory that's going to be shown at the end of the day, whether it be somebody who's staying in overnight right now, whether it be somebody who just is about to graduate the program in 2 weeks, God's glory is going to be shown.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the truth. I can't wait to see the next 5, 10, 15 years of Adam.
Yeah.
And where you're going to be and how many lives will be changed because of your testimony and because of your work directly with the folks, and really because your heart was changed in a direction that was kind of going south and now is going the direction God wants you to go. And I love seeing your growth. I love seeing your passion for helping the other guys who were in a position that you were just a few short years ago.
Yeah.
And so I like I said, I can't wait to see how God's going to take your life and really direct, your paths as you go forward and help in the ministry here or wherever God leads you. Because he's got a path for you to go. So
yeah, I'm excited too, man.
Well, this has been another, great story of hope. And Adam has done a great job here at the mission. But shows you really how God can change a life from something that was devastating early on in his life of a family member passing and then divorce and everything else that happened, and falling into this party lifestyle that ended up being not good, ended up in jail, that really brought Adam to a place where he had to get kind of on his knees at a mission and changing his life that saw Jesus Christ really change what Adam's direction was. And like I said, we love Adam. We're so thankful that he is a story of hope. And this has, again, been Keith Overholt from the Downtown Rescue Mission. And this is another podcast of Stories of Hope.